Now, following the death of Archie Battersby, an inquest concluded that he died accidentally in a prank or an experiment that went wrong, and that he'd not intended to harm himself. The coroner also stated that there was a possibility that Archie could have taken part in some sort of online challenge, but there was no evidence of it. Now, online safety for children and young adults has come to the forefront of the debate in this past year. Christoforos Nikolaou was just 15 years old when he took his life after becoming a victim of harmful online material. In his memory, his father George set up the Christoforos Charity Foundation, and their goals are to promote, inspire and encourage children and young adults to engage in activities outside of social media and the internet. Now, the father and mother of Christoforos, George and Areti, join me live in the studio now. George and Areti, thank you so much for joining me today. And I know your message is very, very important because a lot of parents don't know what their children are doing online. So can you sort of start me off by talking to me a little bit about your son? What kind of a young man was he?
First of all, thank you for having us here. So Christopher was the most well-mannered, respectful, kind, faithful to his parents, faithful to his friends, loving, caring.
Very good student.
Very good student. Very good student. In fact, he's got an award at school that the children in his year, every year, they'll be winning his award. It's called the Christopher Achievement Award. So for the next 10 years, that'll be one. So obviously, the school is very saddened with our loss, and I'll be very honest with you, they've stood by us a great deal. Look, we've got to do something about this. There's various forums that, unfortunately, children get stuck into.
So can I ask you then, were you aware that he was doing something online? Do you know how he managed to access the sort of material?
Look, Christopher was always very honest with us, and as an example, if he wanted to go and play on his computer, he'll come and ask us first. During the week, he'll be doing his homework and studies. So there was no usage of computers. He was more interested in focusing on his studies and doing the best marks. And in fact, I can tell you that a few days before the incident, he actually said, Dad, he said, I'm prepared, I'm ready to get the best grades, GCSEs in my year. You know, he was very adamant that he wanted to get the best. Look, I mean, it's not simple to understand, but what actually happens is that children somehow get involved in these, I call them dark webs, where they actually don't know they've entered this dark web. And there's a particular forum which is a normal forum where it's a gaming forum, you know, where, you know, children get involved, but there is predators out there. And the predators are out there to find vulnerable children to do what they need to do. And they offer them challenges, they offer them tasks, and they've got 50 days to do it. And they know none the wiser. They just think that, okay, it's gaming, it's challenges, it's tasks, you know, nothing wrong with that.
And is that what Christoforos got involved in?
And that's one of the things Christopher's got involved with. He had no idea. In fact, they made him get our passports, and he gave our details. They tricked him in. Information from our passports that they need so they can activate this new game that he's supposed to be getting. Once he gave the passports, they started the threats. And one of the threats was, if you don't complete your challenges, we'll go for your family. And we are none the wiser. And this was all like the last 50 days. You know, it was just...
He changed so much last month.
Yeah.
He became so nervous. He was doing stuff like quick eat his food in 2 seconds and go back to his room. And we was asking, what's going on, Christopher? What's wrong? You have any problem? Talk to us. Was no, it's everything okay. Just game. You know, I'm just talking to my friends. And
he wouldn't say anything to us because they brought him to a situation where he was threatened, and you know, he was led to believe that he was being watched. Wherever he was going, he was being watched. You know, and however clever Christopher was, I would say yes, because I still know that he's around us all the time. And but you know, again, if our Christopher, bright, happy, prosperous child, was able to get tricked in something like this, then we're actually very worried. We're very worried because, like we as parents never knew none the wiser about these kind of things. I'm actually worried about other parents who know nothing about what their children are doing upstairs. You know, there's been situations we've gone around to friends' houses and we'll say, you know, oh, where is, you know, your child? Oh, he's upstairs playing games. Oh, he's getting on with it. You know, and we'll say, well, don't you check up on him? And don't you just see what they're playing?
How did you find out that that's what he was doing, though? I mean, was it quite obvious then when you looked on his computer, or was it?
Yeah, we found it. We found it all from his computer. We found the chats. We found the threats.
Right.
We found the conversations.
Okay.
We found it all. Well, enough to get us to go through this very long motion to set up this charity, so that. And thank you, Lord, that we've managed to get the charity registered with the commissioners, and that was only last month. So, if you want to tell you about what the charity is about,
yeah, please do.
The charity is it's called the ccfworld.org, and the charity is to give activities, tours, games, but not computer games, of course. You know, going to various trips and so forth. And all this is going to be paid by our charity. And we have raised, and we haven't even started yet, and we've raised over £20,000 for the CCF World. And CCF obviously stands for the Christoforos Charity Foundation. And, you know, we also want to bring awareness to parents. And on the website, it explains everything, how parents could be made aware in more detail how to protect their own children, because the most dangerous ages are between 12 and 16, which is what our charity is covering. However, we will be speaking to the commissioners to ask if we could extend that from 10 to 16, because 10-year-olds, even 10-year-olds are getting involved in this very bad experience. And
what should parents be looking out for? Because obviously, after Christopher first took his life, you then found it all on his computer. If you had done searches like that earlier, would you think you would have found that? And if so, what was that search that you did to find this stuff?
Do you know what? I mean, this might sound crazy, but, you know, after Christopher went to heaven, we were guided. We were guided. God has helped us a lot, I'll be honest with you. And I know it might sound silly, but it's the truth. And we were able to open up his computer, and we were able to find these horrific conversations
and pictures
and horrific threats and photos. They were sending photos through to him of knives, and they were saying which one they would use to kill themselves. So that's how it all starts. You know, they make it sound like, you know, it's them that want to do it. You know, and Christopher would say, you know, you can't be doing things like that. You know, we're Christians. You can't be killing yourself. You know, you'll be going to hell. And this is all written down. And unfortunately, you know, after a while of getting involved in these challenges, you're now you're in this dark bubble.
So if people want to find out about your charity, and presumably you sort of advise parents as well about how they can avoid their children getting involved in this and what people need to look out for. Is there a website or something?
Yes, of course. There's a website, and it's ccfworld.org. And, you know, we want people to look at the charity. We want people to sponsor us. We want people to become volunteers, because we're going to need volunteers for our trips, and just to give all the fun in the world to children. Obviously, they're not allowed to go on social media. But, you know, they're going to have great fun. They're going to have outings. They're going to have trips. They're going to have, you know, and that's what we want to spend 100% of all the money we raise. And it's going to be every week. There'll be a new trip. There'll be a new activity every week, and maybe 3-4 times a week. And we're trying to grow it. We're trying to grow it, and we're trying to make parents understand
and be aware of
it, but
really keep focused on what the children are doing.
Yeah, and of course there'll be leaflets given out on each time, so the kids can take home. You know, we want to make it as successful as possible.
Accessible, of course, to parents as well. Listen, George and Areti, thank you very much for coming to talk to us about this. It's so important, and hopefully parents who are listening and watching, grandparents who are listening and watching to this, will perhaps maybe take a look at what their children are doing online. Thank you so much. It's so important. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.